my name is Ember and I like to read books. And happy freaking New Year, dude. It is 2026. What? Time went by so freaking fast, dude. In the year of 2025, I read 150 books with a goal of just 100. Today, I want to talk about my favorite reads from each month in 2025. I'm very excited. These are all 5-star reads to me, so let's get to it. In January, I read Onyx Storm, and honestly, it was so good. It's definitely my 5-star read from January. I know a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't care for it. They didn't like the ending. But me, personally, I had a great time. I went in with, not low expectations, but I went in just very excited for the story. And I had such a great time, dude. I think I say I have such a great time about everything. I was looking back at videos from 2025, and I say I had such a great time. I did have such a great time. I'm not a liar. When I say I had a great time, I did have a great time, and I had a great time with Onyx Storm. And I can't wait for the next one. I hate the fact that I have to wait a long time, but also at the same time, you know what, Rebecca, enjoy yourself, because this damaged me. I put her back. In February, I only read books by Black authors. I also took it a step further by reading books that were a little bit out of my norm, especially a lot of them being a focus of nonfiction. My favorite book in February was Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil Tyson. Obviously, you know who Neil Tyson is, but it was really cool. I am always interested in space. There's space and the ocean. I don't care for the ocean, but space, I'm so intrigued. Not enough to go up there, okay? Not enough to go up there, but enough that I read this book, and it was so interesting just learning about astrophysics, and he explained it in a way that it was just so easy to understand. In March, I ended up reading one of my favorite books. I have a top fave list, and honestly, I'll probably go through it. Real by Kennedy Ryan is on there. Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors is on there. And now House of Frank by Kay Synclaire is on here. And this book, I read it in a time that I was grieving, and the way that Kay Synclaire explains things, it's like the perfect explanation for grief. It's a perfect explanation of what you're going through. It was like all the words that I needed in the moment. And it felt like a warm hug. You know, it felt like a warm hug and someone saying, "No, I get it. Just let it out." And that's how I felt when I read this book. My friend Alicia ended up getting me this special edition of it with the piano keys, and it's also like a felt, let me just show you, girl. First of all, I forgot. Look at that. You can't even see that, can you? No, it's fine. And then look, because the shooting star is very important to the story. Yeah, I sobbed like a baby, but I honestly can't wait to reread this one. In April, I tried to focus on books that I had in my net gallery because I had so many of them. And I wanted to be responsible and knock them out. One of the books that I had in there was Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. This is my first book that I've read by C.G. Drews, and it will not be my last. This is a YA gothic horror with just really good details on the atmosphere. It was a roller coaster of a story. It bounced in between times, and it was extremely captivating. It wasn't confusing. This book is queer as freak, so I was also very happy about that, and I'll be checking out more by C.G. Drews. In May, I watched this video essay, and I think this is very important for this conversation, okay? Anyways, I watched this video essay, and everyone kept telling me, if you love Twilight, this is like a debrief and an essay about Twilight and romance, and you're gonna eat it up. Now, what's very important is I have a very hard time with romance. I feel like sometimes it's unrealistic, and it kind of it just throws me off. Anyways, I watched this video. It kind of talks about romance books and women and feminism and Twilight, and it totally changed my perspective of romance. And after that, I ended up reading a romance book, Unromance by Erin. I read this book and I ate it up. I ate it up. It's so funny because obviously I can read books and like I'll have a good little key, but this one, like, I was cracking up, kicking my feet, having such a ball, and the characters were like super enjoyable. I love the fact that you have this like this play on romance with the author being a romance writer who hates romance. I think it's such a great book for people who are dipping their toes into romance. I mean, it has the title Unromance. You know what I mean? In June, I read When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. And baby, what a ride. What a freaking ride. I actually think about this book very often. I think about like the beginning 2 chapters often. I think about at a certain point in the book, something happens and I don't want to spoil it, but there's a certain point in the book where some things start going crazy. I think about it often. I think about a certain part in the book where you think, did my ink disappear? It did not. Often. This is such a great read, especially for like the fall. It kind of gives like real cozy. And I don't know, there's something so terrifying about the mind. There's something so terrifying about the mind. There's something so terrifying about the beginning first 2 chapters of this freaking book. And there's also something so terrifying about knowing you have to do something so important, but also there's other things that's happening, but oh my God, we still have to focus on this really important thing. When the Wolf Comes Home. You know what? Special, just like a real quick, not even quick, it's gonna take a minute, but a special shout out to July, because in July, this isn't even the book that I'm picking for my pick of July because it's a series. And shout out to The Hunger Games, bro. Shout out to The Hunger Games. I read The Hunger Games for the first time. I started reading Hunger Games in July, and I finished Sunrise and the Reaping in December. And what a ride. What a roller coaster. Obviously, you've seen the videos. I talk about the book. I literally give you my freaking reactions to them. And I don't know why it took me so long to read them. I don't know why it took me, but I'm so happy that I did read them. And I'm so excited that I still have to watch the movies. And Sunrise on the Reaping comes out in December of 2026. I think November, December, whatever. It comes out in December. So I get to experience that as someone who just read these freaking books. Hello. Yeah. I ate it up. I wanted to shout it out. I know technically I read them each different dates, like 3 different. I know I read them all different months. I didn't read them like back to back. I didn't read them all in one month. I just want to give a special shout out to Suzanne Collins. And you know what? A nice little F you to Quentin Tarantino, because you were really upset that she wrote this and then you're saying she copied something else and blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Boo this man. Boo. Anyways, shout out to The Hunger Games. Had a great time. If you haven't read the series yet, definitely check it out. And the book that I am picking for July, this was an arc at work, and I was like, oh shoot, this looked real crazy. It looks like Alien. And I was like, and it's horror. I love horror. However, I didn't focus on the fact that it said erotic horror. Oopsie. Anyways, Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. Gailey. Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. This is a horror erotic, obviously, like I freaking told you. It was terrifying. It was nasty. It kind of reminded me of the Alien movie series. And it with a mix of, do you remember that movie where it's like this lady and it's like, bro, I can't think of it right now, but I'm probably going to put a picture of it and I'm going to be mad that I forgot. Anyways, it reminds me of the Alien franchise. It was also really nice because I had just read a book that was supposed to be like the space horror book, and it was not space horror. It was just space romance, and it really irked me. So reading this, it gave me everything I wanted. body horror, a little bit of erotica, and just like straight delight. I had a great time. Wonderful plot. In August, I read the first book in the In August, I read the first book in the Broken Earth series, and that is the 5th season. Can you see that? The 5th season. I didn't read the other ones. I didn't read them yet. So I'm going to definitely check them out. But that book had me captivated. The storytelling was phenomenal. This gave, like, reading this book, I felt like men who watch football. I'm like, you don't even understand. This is what's happening. What do you mean? And I was reading with other people and they were like, I just don't understand. I was like, what do you mean you don't understand? This is about this, that, and the third. And the plot thickens at the end. Oh my God. And I can't wait to read the next books this year. Honestly, you know what? She might be moved up on the list because I totally forgot that I had these. And I think I'm going to go ahead and read this month or maybe in February because Black authors only in February. Hello? In September, I wanted to broaden my horizons. So I read a classic. Technically, I listened to a classic. I listened to Pride and Prejudice, the Audible edition. And first of all, the two main characters, one, I love her on Succession, and Succession, Industry, brother. I loved her in Industry. And then the guy, he was in Baby Girl. I didn't care for Baby Girl, but I liked him. And I liked his voice. So it was really nice just to listen to their story, listen to the banter. And I get why the girlies really love Pride and Prejudice. Now that I've read it, I realize that I have Pride and Prejudice zombies. So I'm very excited to dive into that next. In October, I try to focus on horror. In October, I was also extremely freaking busy doing a show. And I didn't really get to read that much. But the book that I'm picking is Horror House of Perversions by Carl John Lee. This book was real short, extremely gory, and had so much female rage, man. So much female rage, and I love female rage. It's such a quick read, which I literally just mentioned. It's extremely detailed in the gore, so if you're not someone that is like interested in body gore and like blood, then don't check it out. But I had a ball and I got to read the next book after. So yeah, it was good. In November, I received an ARC from Dutton and it was called Bloodfire Baby. This book comes out in February. It's my favorite book of the month. It was so freaking good. There's something so interesting about horror that relates to real life because this is something that someone is probably thinking or they never had words for it, and so they're using their imaginations to explain it. Me, obviously, I don't have any children, but I know that one day I will have children, and there's a possibility that I will experience some really terrible postpartum. And I don't know. I just feel like there's something so real about this story. Also, this was the author's first novel. A wonderful job. You couldn't even tell it was their first novel. There were parts that were very detailed, but I wasn't upset about it. It captivated me. It kept my attention. And yeah. And every time I was just like, this could be me. This could be me. I enjoyed it. In December, I was reading bangers after bangers after bangers, bro. So this was extremely hard for me. Extremely. But I ended up going with What Fury Brings. I mean, hello, penis guillotines. What? The story was fast-paced. It kept my attention. The world building was phenomenal. Chef's kiss. A lot of the reviews that I was seeing, they were just like, I'm upset because she said that this is something that shouldn't happen, but then everything she was saying, oh, brother, stop it. I just, something about women doing the things that men do, especially if it's horrible. I'm like, I support women's rights and I support women's wrongs. what Fury brings. So those are my 5-star reads for every month in 2025. And then obviously the Hunger Games. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what I read in 2026. I don't have any crazy expectations. I'm not buying any books in January. So anything that I plan on reading will be books that are on this shelf, because these are all books that I have read. All these that are here are the books that I have not read. So I'm not buying any books in January. Okay, this is a dry January. No books, no blind boxes either. Pray for me. Peace.